Theresa, a lot of people, especially after the past 2 years, have either had to return to employment or are in employment right now, or they're looking for something, but some of them are just not content with where they are. They find themselves at that crossroad where the breadcrumbs have been coming in, but they're like, Theresa, I need this paycheck. I need, the stability. I don't have a savings or whatever it is. What advice would you give those people if they know they need to be in a different place, but they just can't or are unable to let go of the security they have right now?
Well, my first advice would be get a coach and work through it with someone. Or if you can't get a coach, find someone to be your thinking partner in this, but find someone who has no agenda associated with your future, right? Because there are people that we might turn to in our lives, and they come from the best place. They so want to support us, but it's really hard to take yourself, when you are connected to someone, take your own agenda out. And I think lots of times well-meaning family and friends can't even see that. So find someone who is not connected to your agenda in any way to be your thinking partner. I think there are many, many ways to pursue that life that you want. And, I don't like to pretend I have the answers for people. And that is part of proactive coaching, right? Like, you're naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to help you to pull forth the answers that are already within you. So how do we do that, right? And it can be in building a plan that gets you to where you want to be, but it starts with the vision. So lots of times I think people know that they are not in the right place, or something doesn't feel right about where they are. So there's a misalignment, right? And so the very early work that I do with any of my clients is to get really clear on their purpose. And that's not, what do you want to accomplish, right? Like, I'm very clear. This is not about accomplishments. This is about what you're here on this earth. Like, how do you already show up? How have you been showing up your whole life, right? When you're really in alignment, what does that look like for you? What do people describe you as, right? Now, let's make sure that you're showing up on purpose like that every day, right? How do we make sure that that is part of where you are, right? The North Star. And then, of course, getting really clear on values. So you've got your GPS system, you got your North Star, you got all these other little stars that you follow, and those are your values. And then, like, let's get clear on the vision. What is it? What does it look like? Where is it? What are you doing? How do you feel when you're doing it? And then, is there a way that we can start to introduce things to your life that helps you to feel that way? That introduces those aspects that you have identified in that vision to what you're doing today. How do you start telling people? Manifest it. I don't use the word manifest all the time with my clients. Like, sometimes it works with them, and some clients it's not so much. You got to be careful, right, Candace? I'm working in the corporate world here sometimes, right? Like, some people are really into manifesting, and other people are like, okay. So, like, how do you start putting it out there so that it comes back to you? Like, a really perfect example for corporate people is when they're looking for a new job, but they don't network. Like, if you're not out talking to people and telling people what it is that you're looking for, how are you, like, what are you're really asking the universe to do some heavy lifting, man. You want the universe to just bring it to you, and you're not even telling anyone? Like, that's a lot of work you're expecting of the universe. So how do you start to move in very subtle ways toward the vision that you have created for yourself? I would never tell anybody, quit your job and go do that. Like, that's a huge risk, and it's probably outside the comfort zone of many people. One of the things that's deep for me, and I go back to it a lot, and maybe it's out of my own experience, but I think it can be, it's one of the ways that we move through imposter syndrome, and it's one of the ways that we grow confidence. And I like to say a lot, it's courage over confidence. You don't have the confidence to do it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't. The confidence will come after you do it. So what you actually need is not confidence. What you actually need is courage. So how do we summon the courage?
Oh, that is so good. And as you were speaking about confidence, I remember I was interviewing someone and they said, competence creates confidence. So the more you do something and the better you become at that thing, you become more confident at doing it. But it's almost impossible to really harness an inner confidence in something that you've never done. And so as you were speaking, I was listening to that and I was like, oh my goodness, every single thing you've said is so good and it's so implementable for people. Even if they started journaling it today or they started putting down a game plan of people who aren't invested. And I love that you said that. I love that you said that, Theresa, because people are going to operate, especially if they love you. And we do this, you know, where you love someone so much, you don't want them to make a decision that could harm them. So you're not going to give them advice impartially. You're going to be like, don't quit your job. Don't do that. Don't take the jump. No.
Don't pursue your dreams.
No,
whatever you do,
no.
do not pursue your dreams because that's risky, right? And everybody has different risk tolerance, right? Like even my financial advisor, like she doesn't know my end game, right? She brings me back a plan. I'm like, that's not the plan I want with my money. I don't want to have that much money when I'm 90. What do I need that much money? I want to spend it now, right? Like if we don't share the vision that we have for ourselves and start like, you know, the advice and the input that we're going to get is always coming with I want to say a filter on it. And we need to be aware that other people have filters on the things that they're sharing with us. That's not to say that they're being self-serving. They're not. It's just their filter. You might have a way higher risk tolerance than I do. So you might like just go out and do things in a much bolder way than I will, right? So like if we were to give each other advice, we would be working at odds with one another because we have different risk tolerance. Somebody else may have had an experience that like really shaped them that they don't want you to feel. You know, the other thing that I think is so key that, you know, I think being a coach, Candace, we already know this, but everybody's on their own journey. It's their own path. They have to have their own experiences. You know, we can learn vicariously, but you don't really learn vicariously the same way you do when you learn the lesson yourself. Ouch, right? Or, wow, I can do that. You can be told a million times by your mom or your best friend, oh, you're the best, you're amazing, you can do that, I know you can do that, go for it. But until you do it and you feel it, this thing that is floating around in my head that I've been playing with recently, and that is this idea that something can be intellectually known, but it's not energetically owned. So, I like people, my clients might have shoulds in their head. I know I should do this, or I know I should do that, or I want this, or I want that. But until they are energetically aligned or owning it energetically, they're not actually taking the action or making the move to do something.